like a sore thumb was sticking out a little bit. Made me really uncomfortable, but then like my 8th grade year, I just started taking shots in front of people. I was like, it is what it is, you know, like, you're not gonna get in the way of that. And then I learned that like my real friends are people who are gonna take the time to know about my diabetes. People are like, because if I have a seizure and you don't know what to do, okay, you're gonna help me out. Is that a friend, you know? And then obviously I have to help them out, you know, tell them what it is, but you know, people who just kind of wrote off the like, all right, I see where you're at. But my freshman year, I went into Excel when it was on the Audi campus, and like I had that anxiety again. I was like, oh, new kid, you know, these people are gonna be like, what is that? You know, like, are you like shooting up? Is this why you're here? Like, you have problems? I'm like, no, it's just me. And like, turns out I had a friend, Ashley Myers. Some of you know her. She's diabetic too. She'd take shots with me at lunch. It's pretty cool. She's like, people just, you know, like, people knew what it was, and everybody took the time to acknowledge or ask, what is that? Like, what do I need to do if something goes wrong? Like, it kind of showed me, like, hey, some people are really nice, you know, they really do care. Not everyone's just, you know, into their own stuff. And one day we do worship. I don't know if you still do Fridays, but like they were talking about like accepting Christ in your heart, and I never heard of that before. I was kind of like, what is that? I would just speak to God, you know, like isn't that what we do? And then hence the name Jesus Christ, Christian. I was like, oh, I need to listen. So I accepted Christ my freshman year, and since then I've redevoted a couple times just to, you know, make sure he knows, like, hey, I'm on your side now. But Excel, even though I left it my junior year, this past year, I'll be the first to say it saved my life. Like, seriously, in so many ways. Like I was getting really aggressive in my 8th grade year, going into 9th grade, for health reasons. I've had very chronic infections for 5 years straight now, so I'm just like, whatever, you know. But I've learned to cope with that through Christ, and that's how I cope with everything. This is where it starts. My sophomore year, at the end of my freshman year, I met James, and he stuck out a lot with me through, like, we went to camp. Like, this school goes to a retreat. It's sick. Like, counter God so much, you know. And there I learned, like, the presence of God. Like, you feel it. Like, it's not like, oh, I'm trying to feel him right now. It's like, you know when you're feeling it. You can't just be like, I'm not sure. Or like, I'm not feeling all too receptive today or anything. It's just like, you know you're in his presence. And that's when I learned that. I was like, this is sick. Give me more, you know? Like, I want this every day or whenever I can, you know? And that came so fast to me, and then it just drifted out here and there. And like, up until recently, like, I found a consistent grind to do that on. And it's all outside, I promise. So, sophomore year of high school, I'm doing this by year, you can't tell. I played basketball, and I was sick. I lost like 10 pounds just by exercising and not eating at all. So I get really angry when I lose. I get really angry. I didn't know how to. If that's my biggest fault in obedience with sports, honestly. People will tell me, oh, you're really good at sports, when you do this, do that. And like, I never really had an answer. I was like, I just get angry when I lose. Or it's not even when I lose. It's not when we lose. Like, people would be like, are you mad at me for missing that shot, you know? I'm just like, no, I'm mad at myself because I could have done this better. I don't get mad at people necessarily. I get mad at myself. And it's a really big thing that Jesus works with me on. It's like, that's basically the main point of my testimony right now, but I'll get to that. It's like, so I quit sports thinking that if I got rid of it, you know, that's how you solve the problem. And it doesn't solve the problem because I just sit there and look at like baseball on TV. I'm like, I want to play baseball. You know, like I want to play it like a kid. I want to play. And so I left Excel thinking that, like, it was the obedience thing. I hate being told what to do. God, I hate it more than anything. And I think we can all relate to that in some ways. But I felt like people were telling me my beliefs, and I didn't agree with that. You cannot tell me what I believe in when I don't believe in, what I feel when I don't feel. But sometimes people can lead you in the right direction to say, this is what's right, this is wrong. They can't tell you what you experienced. And so I left. I went to TMCC for a semester. And that was probably my favorite semester of my whole high school career, honestly. It was so fun. I got to kick it with my cousin Tyler for a whole semester. And all my college friends, I didn't have to hang out with high school kids, which I thought was sick. I was tired of kids in my family. Because, and see, these people, the college kids, have already been through a lot of what you've been through, so they can relate, and they're not as, like, uncomfortable. When you're around kids your age, you're, like, same level as me. How do I prove something to them, And so they're just more accepting, and some of my best friends to this day are those same kids I met in college. And so I kind of just, like, I'll rewind, because that's the part of this. I was in a relationship for 9 months that I put a lot into, and I had this problem with putting my trust into people, thinking that, like, this person's going to make me happy, or this sport will make me happy, let's say. Just the relation connects there. I messed it up, Things happen, relationships come and go, God times relationships. And until you're married, it doesn't mean anything, really, honestly. Until you're really devoted to that person, you're just playing with your emotions, But you can be in a good, healthy relationship. I'm not saying that, It's not the point. I basically just let go. Like, I was like, don't care about relationships. My morals dropped, my standards even dropped. I was talked to some funny people, And it's serious. I'm being real. Like, I'm telling it as how it is. I'm not gonna go around. I'm gonna go around it, I just gotta say what it's meant to be. And so I just dropped my standards a lot. And that, more than anything, wasn't like hurting anything about, like, people. I wasn't hurting people, Like, I didn't have any ill intention towards anybody, but it killed myself. My insides, after all that letting go, I was just like, this is not the way I'm gonna live, like, And I was failing school too, TMCC, regardless of how fun it was. It's very vigorous. You can't be, like, public high school is kind of easy just to, like, get C's and pass, I was getting D's, and I was trying pretty dang hard to get at least a B in the class, And so I went to Spanish Springs, and I did the same thing there. I was like, I'm the new kid, Even though I went to public school, these kids in 7th and 8th grade, it's like, now what are these kids going to think about me? It's been 3 years that I've been away from these people, Same group of people. So I had a hard time, taking my shots again for like a week. I was like, I'm not going back to that. That's 8th grade stuff. Like, I'm not going back to that. So I made a couple friends. Went to a few too many parties. I didn't do anything ignorant. I just, shouldn't have been what I was, And, like, I had a problem with promiscuity, being aggressive when people lie to me, because I really don't like being lied to. It's not much of it's just a pet peeve. That's what I'll call it. It's just a pet peeve. Like, I'll forgive you, If you're going to forgive somebody for this, you got to be willing to forgive them for another thing, Like, you can't just zero forgiveness down to certain things, and hold a grudge, because that'll just kill you inside as well. And I also had a problem with being real with my dad. Like, when he'd ask me, how are you feeling? I'd just be like, I'm good. Smile, walk to my bed, pass out of depression, because I have depression too. It comes with diabetes. Like, 80% of diabetics suffer from, like, physical depression. Not in here. I don't know what that's like, because I can keep myself up pretty well mentally. But, like, physically, I'd wake up and I don't want to go to school today. And then, so, no, that's covered. Luke came back from Wyoming, and he was at church here, and I was like, I'm going to go to church today just to see Luke. I haven't been to church in months, probably almost a year. And didn't want God, didn't want Jesus, nothing. I'll be honest, I didn't want any of that. Didn't want it. And I said, what's up to Luke, sat next to him, caught up on some things. And I'm just sitting here yeah, I'm with Luke and James. We're going to go to the GSR tonight, hit some golf balls or whatever we did. I don't really remember, but we do that. That's what we do. And I'm just sitting here, and this guy's speaking about, forgiveness. I've always struggled with forgiveness, like I said. People lie to me. I'll get you back later, But I was just sitting there, and all of a sudden I started praying, by default. Not I just started talking to God. And then I was like, in Jesus' name, how do I forgive all these things around me when I think it's filth? If I'm so disgusted with myself, how do I cope with all these people around me, And coming from me, that's a little weird because I get very enthusiastic in crowds, so you might not see that. But in here, sometimes in here, it's I don't want to be here. I'm just this angers me, And so, all of a sudden, I don't see, how we all receive God's word in different ways sometimes. I never hear, a very thorough voice, some people say they do. But I feel it. I can feel his presence, literally, straight up. It's a complete physical experience. And I was sitting there, and I closed my eyes, and all of a sudden, things would black in my mind. You know how you see things in your mind? You just close your eyes. It's just how you imagine things. Mine would black, and I can't do that if I want to. I can't just see black, And all of a sudden, I see these 4 chains. I'll be straight up honest with you with these 4 chains. I don't care. I was promiscuous with 4 people. Yeah. And they were chains, And it was pictures of those people. And here's me, and all those chains connect to me, right? All of a sudden I see this a flash of light, a cut. You know, Fruit Ninja? yeah. Fruit Ninja, but this is the light, a light of God, not just a little swoosh, I was dang, I'm experiencing this right now. This is my thought. I was and that thought just got wiped away. It was now look what I have to do. And it was just the picture of me in this black space, just the Microsoft thing. And it's just me. And all of a sudden there's this big golden chain. And it slaps on me. And then it started going off screen. Do you know the screen? It goes off screen. And all of a sudden this big, golden, cheesy picture, on the internet of Jesus, It's that picture, yes. And it's golden, and it's shining, It's this is what you're attached to. There's no soul. Yes. It's and here I am coming to see one of my best friends to hear his experiences. I don't have him one of the biggest experiences of my life.
That's Jesus.
But it wasn't I came seeking for it. It just hit me, and that's how I knew it was real.
Yes.
More than anything, the most real things happen when you don't expect it to. And so that was honestly just about 2 months ago. And ever since then, I haven't missed a youth group. I love hanging out with all of you, honestly. It's even when we had tensions here for a while, I was I want to go to In-N-Out. Gee, please don't. Afterwards, I got butthurt, honestly. I got so bummed that people were I gotta go home later, just dip. And I was all right. Because, guys, this is where it all adds up, are people I can truly look up to. Whether you're younger than me, you're older than me, whether we've had tensions before, which I don't think I have, really. Whether, I just met you. If you're here in this room, it's one of the only places that I've ever been in my life, because I haven't been that many places, but God will take me to those places. that I can honestly like just feel loved and loved. And like you got the first night I was here, we watched Father of Lights, and those people were preaching basically what I see here. If you don't preach love first, the rest of it's pretty much meaningless. And when I see people, like, I call it hate preaching, I don't know what else to call it. They're like, you'll be condemned, you'll do this. I'm like, I just call it hate preaching because you're not using love to engage with these people. And it's not going to work. I'm sorry, it's not. It's like, when people tell me what to do, that's how I like viewed hate preaching at first, even though they had good intentions for me. That's what my first definition of hate preaching was. I was like, this person's telling me what to do, they don't care about me. Even if they were using love. Then I saw it, like, love can be harsh, but it does not, it's in the Bible. Love is not irritable. And like, when I feel irritable, it's not love. But even if these people are being harsh with me, I know not to be irritable, because they're probably right. If I'm doing something wrong and they're putting me in line, hey, get on with thank you, you know? I'll thank you later if I'm not thanking you at that, because I'm like, stop talking to me. Close myself out. I'm really good at that. I'm going to close myself out. But the main thing is when I experienced that change, Luke was talking about voices in church a couple weeks ago. God's voice, your voice, everyone else's voice, and the enemy's voice. And like, I don't hear like his voice, you know, but I hear his words almost through like my thoughts, you know. That's how and it said, all these little things you're holding on to that lower your standards, your morals, or whatever, that bring you back to complete disobedience, you know, are the things that, if you forgive yourself for it, they don't mean anything anymore. That's the only way. And at first I was like, but how can I forgive myself? What is the words I need to tell myself? You know, it's not words, just do it, is what he's saying. Just do it. Stop questioning it, just do it. So I forgave myself, and literally like all those habits or those things I was doing, the disobedience, have faded to a good 80%, like majority. And like the percentage is still climbing, you know? Like my thoughts sometimes wander, and then all of a sudden it's back on track, you know? And despite my actions, my emotions, and like my words, what I do around each and one of you, if that doesn't represent like what I'm talking about right now, at least you know I have the desire to be better. Because we all slip. And like, despite all those things, I'm trying. Just strive for something. Gotta strive. And that thing I strive for lately and always. I tell myself every day when I wake up, strive for Jesus, you know? Because I had a problem rewinding a bit. I used to wake up and tell myself I wish I was asleep forever. If that makes sense. That's a light way of putting it. Like, I don't want to wake up, you know? It's a bad feeling. But through Jesus, it's like, yo, if you don't know what you're doing today, just go do something and hope that something good happens, you know? Like we go to Walgreens, Luke and I, and this lady just starts talking about her personal life to Luke, and Luke's just being friendly. Like, we didn't know what we were going to do that day. We just went to Walgreens, got some drinks, and like, this lady, like, we didn't expect it at all, you know? Like, and so what I'm saying is, if you have these faults, such as promiscuity, like me, you know, I don't have a drug addiction. I think drugs are filthy. That's just me. Do I think you're filthy for doing drugs? No. You're beautiful. You just haven't cleansed yourself for Jesus yet. Truly. If you can say, Jesus, yo, help me stop doing drugs. Why don't you stop me? Like, what? No, that's not how it works. Like, seriously, that's not how it works. It does not work that way. The things you think that God's not keeping you from are the things you're nailing yourself down to. Let me tell you.
Say it again. That was good. Say it again.
The things you think God is not keeping you from the things you're nailing yourself down to. Seriously. And it's not that he doesn't want you from those things, and it's not like, oh, I just don't know how to control myself. It's literally, you haven't seeked him so intimately, or so like, I don't even know how to explain this. You haven't grasped him or strived. That's it, strived. Strive for him so hard that you push yourself away from those things yourself. Nobody else. You can't find happiness in people, but they're not the reason you're down. You know? Those substances you're addicted to, those are things you're tied down to. Tie yourself to him like he tied himself to me. That little space. Because I mean, that space, in my mind, represents the only thing that matters in my whole entire lifetime from here on out. It's just that chain, me and him. And then one day, if granted, you know, marriage, that's his way of giving you somebody who actually cares. Not somebody that's just gonna, you know, use you for here and then kick you out the door the next second, you know? So, he told me, the overall message here, told me, after connecting that chain, is forgiving yourself is the easiest way to forgive all the filth that you think you see, even though everything is beautiful. That is what I receive. Everything is beautiful, you know, in my mind it's filth. I can forgive all of it, through Jesus Christ. Here I am with all these wonderful people. I seriously don't like the other week, my parents were like, why don't you just stay for dinner and not go to youth? I was like, I don't want your dinner. I'm just being real, like, if you know me, if you haven't gotten to know me this well yet, I love food. I'm a diabetic. It was chicken, all right? I gave up chicken to come to youth. I don't eat full time. I love youth. Wasn't even thinking about chicken at the end of youth, honestly. I just, despite what I'm doing and what I will do, I just want my testimony to be witnessed as something is, at least he's striving for something. Because I had a problem with finding no aspirations. But here I am, telling you, I want this so much. If this, you know, one more thing, then I'm done, I promise. I used to have a problem not knowing how to approach people that don't believe in Jesus Christ about my beliefs. And now this just happened last night. This was a big moment. Like, I was praying all week. I was depressed yesterday. I don't know why. I think I got sick again. This is the 8th time this year I've been sick. I was depressed, you know. And it said, I was just praying last night. And it said, the words you could tell somebody since you're striving for something, right? If you're so lost, if you give Jesus a chance, at least you just gave him a chance if you don't feel anything after it. And you will feel something, I guarantee you. Give him that chance. Yeah. He'll work. He'll work with you. But if you don't know, he'll work. If you just give him a chance. Then at least you have that as a start. Because that was the biggest. I have friends that don't believe in Christ. That's hard for me to deal with sometimes. But I love them regardless. Same way I love you guys. You guys are straight up like people you know what? God told me before I got here, anyone who shows up deserves to hear the truth. And that's why I didn't hold back on anything like I was planning to. So that's
good.
that.
That's awesome.
For this, that scripture is perfect. Where the Spirit of God is, there's power, right? There's freedom. Freedom. Listen, man, if we were all Christians could be as honest as this young man and say, dude, this is what happened, this is where I'm at, you know how much better churches would be? I'd want to go.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'd be like, if people would get up and get real and just be real, then people would come to churches. There are people flocking to churches because the church isn't real, man. You know what I mean? I'm sorry, and you know, this is gonna be on the internet, I don't care, but if we,
No, it's a.
if we are, no, not you, this one.
Oh.
But if we can't be real,
Be real.
then dude, I don't wanna do this thing. I don't wanna do it, right? But the beginning of this is love, right? That's the
Amen.
process. The beginning is love, because somebody had to come along through Kyle's anger, through all his stuff, his mess, my anger, my mess.